Hello everyone, Ricardo Ferrari here, San Diego, California. This is the Radienlife compensation plan video. This is the upgraded version as of March of 2017, the final version compensation plan for Radienlife. We're very excited about the structure. Number one, is very simple to understand. You're going to get it the first time around. Many compensation plans out there in the industry, they're very difficult to understand. And also we have a very powerful payout in the front end because today people need to make money sooner and they need to make more money. And also we have a very deep payout in the back end because as the organization then expands not only nationally but internationally, you want to make sure that your pay grows with your organization instead of being stopped at a certain level or at a certain point into the compensation plan. So very powerful structures. Overall, the company went out of their way. They put together a team of people inside the company, some of them with over 30 years of experience in this industry. I happen to be one of them. And also consultants that really understand how to put together compensation plans for network marketing companies. So a lot went into this plan. We're very excited about the structure. And I'm going to get out of the way here and I'm going to show you this compensation plan bonus by bonus. So we have a 7-profit structure situation here of bonuses, commissions, codes, and overrides. The first one is your retail commissions at 25%. Then we have a faster bonus at $100, a double faster bonus at up to $250. We have a very exciting infinity coded bonus structure which is attached to the FastStart system that pays you up to $125 to infinity to unlimited debt unblockable, because that's what the coded bonus is. And then all the reorders and the automatic convenience orders are processed through a unilevel override system, which is 7 levels at 5%. But overlapping the unilevel 7 levels, we have 6 infinity generational overrides from 2% all the way to 10%, depending on your rank. That is extremely exciting because it carries a tremendous amount of depth into this comp plan. That's exactly what we want. And then on number 7, we have 3 generations of global vice president. A global vice president is a person that has achieved the top of the compensation plan and does at least $800,000 in volume. And consequently, that 1% can be a very big amount of money. So to cover the bonuses one by one, retail is 25%, whether you are selling through your website or personally to one of your customers. Now, if your customer goes on auto order, now they get a 10% break and your profit is 15%. If you happen to be a brand partner on automatic convenience order yourself, you purchase products at 75%. Whether you use them yourself, fine. And if you sell them, you're going to make 25% on it. And if you're not on ACO, the computer knows when someone goes to your website, they're going to calculate a 15% commission, not a 25% commission. So you want to make sure that you are on auto order, because whether you buy products from the company or whether you sell them through their website, you are at 85% of retail and not 75%. There is a 10% differential, so it pays to go on automatic convenience order. In this compensation plan, no one is obligated to buy anything because it works on sales and not purchases. But if we do have a retail customer acquisition, that we're obligated by law, and consequently, I really want you to understand the structure of your commissions as you acquire customers and tell your brand partners the same thing. We have 4 different starter packs. There is a $49 admin fee that we all have to pay every year. And then really the best way to enter the business is by purchasing one of the starter packs. We have a woman, we have a men's, we have the skin repair, and then we have a business builder pack at $499. So we only have 2 price structures here, either $199 or $499. Both of the structures carry a deep discount. The $199 pack, no matter which one you buy, has a $377 value. And the $499 pack has a nearly $1,100 value. And consequently, this is very important because $499, it's not that difficult, right? Now, a lot of the companies similar to ours, they have packs at $1,000, $1,200, $1,400, all the way up to $3,000. So we give you almost an $1,100 pack. I think it's about $1,024 but you're only going to pay $4.99. So we do give you the big value, but not the big price. That's a huge difference between us and the rest of the industry. At this particular point, we do not have an upgrade between the small pack and the big pack. So if you decide to come in at $1.99 and then later on you want to take advantage of the benefits of the $4.99 pack, you have to rebuy all over again. Now, maybe in the future we're going to have an upgrade, but as of the making of this video, we do not. Then the next bonus on the list is the Fast Start bonus. This is very simple, very cut and dry. Every time you sponsor a brand partners and he buys a small pack at $1.99, you make $50. If he buys the business pack at $499, you make $125. So the bigger pack has the bigger value and also has the biggest commission attached to it. And this is only going to happen on the first 3 brand partners. From the 4th one on, it doubles. So every time you sell a small pack at $1.99, you make $100. And every time you sell a big pack for $4.99, you make $250. So we give you a great incentive for you to sponsor your first 3 brand partners as soon as possible, because then you are into double the money. And in addition to this, there is another phenomenon that kicks in from your 4th person on, from your 3rd person on, which is the Infinity Coded bonus, which is attached to the Fast Start, which on the $1.99 pack is $50, but on the $4.99 pack, it's a full $125. So from the 4th and 5th and so on, person that you personally sponsor, their first 3 are coded to you at $125 to infinity on their entire organization. This is a very, very exciting bonus because you can have as many coded organizations as you want. You sponsor the 4th person on their first 3, you have your first coded organization. You sponsor the 5th person, help them to sponsor 3, and you have another huge coded organization, and the 6th and the 7th all the way out. So the exponential growth of this can really come up to a great number, because whether it's a small pack sale, a $50 coded bonus is still a big coded bonus. Study the other comp plans in the industry and you see this $10, $25, whatever. Here on the small pack is $50, on the big pack is $125. It's absolutely powerful. And consequently, let's say you sponsor your first 3 brand partners, and then you sponsor 3 more and you help them get 3. Now you have 9 people in your legacy code plus their 3 to infinity. So the behavior of this compensation plan, number 1, it puts your organization in a position to put in 3 people right away and then incentivizes them to put at least 3 more and then keep on going. And also incentivizes people to work with their people because their people are coded to you all the way to unlimited depth. This is so exciting. Now, if you sponsor 5 people who sponsor 3, you have 15 people in your legacy code plus 3 to infinity. And if you sponsor 10 who sponsor 3, you have 30 in your second level legacy code plus their 3 to infinity. And if you sponsor 100 who sponsor 3, now you have 300 in your second level legacy code plus their 3 to infinity. Now, these are great numbers. In this particular structure, it only takes one person to go bunker and build a huge organization or open a country or do something like that, and you're into major money. Now, not that you want to build an organization on one person, that is not safe, but the potential is there for you to make a lot of money. And this is the same structure that created the first $1 million a month paycheck in the industry way back in the 90s. It was invented by a company called Excel Communications. They became the darling of the industry, not because they were selling long-distance services, because there were other companies selling long-distance services, but because they created the first $1 million paycheck per month on a training pack, on a bunch of papers. Now, we have a $170 million technology here that nobody can touch for the next 100 years, right? And puts us at the top of a $500 billion industry. I mean, a real product. So this is so exciting. In addition to that, this is a cleaner structure because now today that we know compensation plans better. They're not as convoluted as they used to be in the past. So we are very, very excited about this structure. Now, all the automatic convenience orders and all the other reorders then are processed through a unilevel back-end compensation plan, 7 levels at 5%. And I want to cover a couple of things. I want to cover, first of all, we're going to take a look at the qualification and also how we laid the volume qualification for the lower field, the midfield, and the leadership. I think the company has done a fantastic job at really assigning the volume qualification to make it possible for the lower field to make as much money as possible, and the midfield to make more money than in other companies, and also in the leadership. But let me cover a couple of points one by one. First of all, this plan it's equipped with both roll-up and dynamic compression. Now, the roll-up is easy to understand. If a person on your 3rd level doesn't order, the person on the 4th level just rolls up, right? A lot of companies have that. But where a lot of companies make more money and they have breakage is in the dynamic compression. Dynamic compression is the compression that doesn't exist just in the levels, exists in the ranks. The differential between, let's say, a vice president and a senior vice president. And consequently, when these qualifications are either achieved or not achieved, then this compensation plan will act accordingly. And the dynamic compression is very important because compensation plans that don't have it create a lot of breakage for the company because there are holes in the compensation plan. And consequently, on papers, this compensation plan may pay as much as 60%, but in reality, they are 27 to 37%. So if you are experienced in the industry, you understand that dynamic compression causes the company to pay out the entire compensation plan. And consequently, this company pays out 48% from the get-go, no breakage of whatsoever, which is very honest for the field, and it's also very honest for the company. And it's also upfront. So dynamic compression is very important. Again, if you're new, you don't understand this terminology, we're going to teach you this in training, but because all kinds of people watch these presentations, we have to address the needs of everyone. Now, another feature is that your overrides are calculated on 100% of your wholesale volume. So if you generate $100,000 worth of volume, the commissions are going to be calculated on 100,000, not 50,000, not 60,000, not 70,000. If you do $1 million worth of volume, there is a great difference between you getting paid on $500,000 or the whole million. And a lot of companies out there don't have 100% CV. The reason we can do is because we are a manufacturer. We don't have royalty to pay to an external manufacturing company. We have our own labs, our own scientists within the company. We don't have to subcontract them, and consequently, we can pay 100% on wholesale or 75% on retail. That's very important. Why? Because as you become more experienced and you understand these payouts, you're going to get to the point where you're going to appreciate this compensation plan and not get upset. A lot of the leaders in the industry are upset because they join companies impulsively without understanding these points, and then what's going to happen is they thought they were going to make all this money, they generated the volume, but the commissions don't pan out exactly the way they thought, and consequently you are not going to get a bad surprise from this compensation plan. Now let's cover the little fields in the pink there on the left: the retail customer qualification, fast start pack sales, customer volume, and group volume. The law requires us to acquire customers right now. A lot of the companies out there are no longer compliant, meaning that now the FTC requires us to have a 55% volume that comes from customers and not from brand partners. We are in an advantage position because we are a brand new company, and consequently, or fairly brand new. As of the making of this video, we're only a few months old, and we have maybe 1,000 people in the company. So consequently, now we have a customer acquisition system. The company is giving you a little time to put that together, so you don't have to have them right away. But within 3 to 6 months, you should have your customers into place, which with our product is very, very simple. But that is the law. The law wants us to acquire customers. The law also doesn't force any brand partners to buy any products, but you gotta do a volume qualification. So whether it's you or customers, you gotta have a $100 customer volume in place in order for you to achieve ranks, which is very fair. Then we also have fast start pack sales qualifications because that puts you into higher positions of ranks, but it's only 4, which ties into the concept of 4 in the fast start structure. Remember, as soon as you do your first 3 brand partners and then you do your 4th one, now the double fast start bonus kicks in, now the infinity coded bonus kicks in, and also it pre-positions you for the vice president position, which what I call is the first mid-level position. So this is a very, very well done. Now, as far as the volume qualifications, all volume counts. The fast start packs count for volume qualifications. Now, they're not going to be paid through these structures because they've already been paid through the fast start structure. But all the $4.99 and $1.99 packs count against the qualification, plus all the auto ships and all the reorder and the normal volume in your organization. So if you look at the lower field, which is the senior BP, the regional, and the national, all the way from $500 volume to $7,500, let's say it's not difficult for a person to do $7,500. We'll still consider that a lower field. You're already into 5 levels of overrides. The moment you hit the $25,000, you are a midfield person. And at that point, the company kicks in at 2%, right? Let's go to the next slide so you can see a highlight there. It kicks in a 2% override to infinity that is unblocked until you hit the next vice president in a particular lineage. That can be hundreds of people. So you're not going to get paid just on 7 levels here. It goes all the way beyond that, and those 2% really add up. I remember in one compensation plan way back in the late 90s that I joined, I was making 15,000 a month on a 1% blockable infinity. So consequently, I know that these numbers can really pan out to something very, very big. Now, the moment you reach 50,000, you become a senior VP, and then when you go to regional VP, you do $100,000 in volume. Nothing really changed. The fast start packs, you've already done them. Now you got a few more customers. The $100 volume stays the same. Your organizational volume, although, has to go up, and these differentials are really, really great. So a person that is in between 25,000 and 100,000, we call that a midfield person. If you really calculate this comp plan, you're going to make, it's the difference between making $5,000 in another company and $10,000 in our company. It's really that big of a difference, because if you look at a regional VP, you've got 7 levels at 5%, but then you've got 4% infinity generational override all the way down to the next guy that does $100,000. And we don't know. You maybe there is no one there, and this organization just goes, with a bunch of customers all the way to infinity. So the depth is huge. At that level, even as a midfield person, you could be raking in $120,000 to $150,000 a year. And consequently, boy, this comp plan, it's really well laid out. Now, for the leadership level, national VP, executive VP, and global VP, these are the guys and girls that are doing $200,000, $400,000, $800,000. That is great, because now you have the infinity generational overrides at the national VP level kicking in at 6%, 8% executive VP, which is really only $400,000 for a leader. That is not a great amount. And then you've got a global VP at $800,000. I've seen comp plans requiring $3 million for that position, $2 million. We are at $800,000. To give you a full 10% infinity generational override, how many people in your downline are going to make $800,000? So you're going to pick up the 5% to 7 levels plus the 10% all the way down. You got to be really thinking very, very hard not to join this company based on the technology we have and this compensation plan. This is what I call an exciting compensation plan. So if you really break down the structures, you have a huge fast start plus infinity code structure that is really great, not only for front-end money, but as your organization grows and everybody buys a fast start pack, you get all those infinities, you get all those codes, and then all the reorders through this compensation plan, through this uni-level plan in the back end. It's easy to understand, it's very, very powerful, and very, very exciting. Now, I want to encourage you to read these definitions and qualifications so there are no surprises. And we have covered the fact that we need a customer acquisition type of qualification. We have covered the retail situation, There are no recruiting requirements to earn overrides. You can't require that by law. There are no purchases requirements, but there are sales requirements. And consequently, you have to meet them. I want you to understand point number 8, that minimum 40% volume must be placed in the second leg. And then when you reach the VP, any of the VP ranks, you must have a third leg with minimum 10% volume. That's anti-pyramid law. We can't sponsor one person and then just make a bunch of money out of this person. That may happen in the fast start, but in the big scheme of override the entirety of the compensation plan, your back-end volume really has to be placed in 3 legs, 40% on the second one and then 10% on the third one after you become VP. And that is very important that you understand. So you want to make sure that you sponsor at least 3 serious people. And if that's all you're going to develop, that will qualify you for all the depth that we have talked about in this video, in this presentation. Now, another thing is personal volume. Personal volume, it's almost doesn't exist, because if you do just customer volume, that will give you the qualifications. Now, I imagine that you will have a personal volume. Imagine yourself, your family, your mother, your brother, your sister, your father, all going to use this particular product, because if you ever watch a product presentation, you don't want to use anything else that makes any sense to anyone. And consequently, you're going to probably do personal purchases, but all of your requirements are really can be done through customers and not through purchases. This is important by law, because the law doesn't want us to buy our paychecks. They want us to do qualifications, sales qualification for the paycheck, which I personally believe that is very, very honest, and it cleans up this industry out of a lot of controversial. So I just want you to go through this so you get familiar with these definitions. And last but not least, I want you to read this disclaimer, because everything that has been said in this presentation is not meant as a guarantee. I just showed you the potential based on this compensation plan. Many people come into these structures that they don't make anything, because this is the business of human nature. This is the business of marketing. Not everyone is an affinity for that. They join these companies and then they don't make anything, or they don't work or whatever. So this is strictly dependent on your efforts, your connections, your ability to make connections, your ability to follow trainings, to be dedicated, and to really become an entrepreneur. For you to be able to earn any money at all, we are making no guarantees. After having said this, it concludes the presentation of this compensation plan. Again, my name is Riccardo Ferrari. And for now, so long, take care.